Hey everybody, it's Ian the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you're having a great day and a great start to 2018. I'm back again this year with some awesome projects, at least I hope they will be awesome projects to you. Today we're going to start off with a kind of Pantone inspired colored scheme. This year's color for 2018 is ultraviolet, so I tried to kind of match my outfit and card with that color. If you're not sure what the Pantone color of the year is, I'll make sure to put a link down in the description below that links to the Pantone website and they can give you a better idea. It's hard for me to explain, but basically it's going to be a color you're going to see a lot of in 2018. Every year Pantone comes out with a new color that is the color of the year, and I've done several videos and cards related to the color of the year. You can check those out over in the iCard. Make sure to go check those videos out. I was a little ahead of the curve this year. I didn't know that Pantone's color of the year was going to be this ultraviolet, but I bought a phone case back a couple of months ago that is literally ultraviolet is the color of it. So I was a little ahead of the curve without even knowing it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start putting this ultraviolet card together. To get it started today, I'm going to be using some distressed ink in the color Wilted Violet. I almost said flavor Wilted Violet, but color Wilted Violet. I absolutely love this color, and I love the fact that the Pantone color matches up with the distress ink very well. I'm also going to be using some Close to My Heart ink in the colored Pansy. It doesn't quite match as nicely to the distress ink, but unfortunately distress ink doesn't stamp very well, so I figured Pansy will work out quite nicely. I will also be using some purple cardstock as well. Again, it doesn't quite match up to the Wilted Violet, but I feel like it's in the same color family, so it'll work out nicely. The first thing that I'm going to do for my card panel is I'm going to use my Wilted Violet, and I'm just going to smush it onto my Ken Oliver craft mat, just kind of willy-nilly, no particular place or order, just putting down some color. And then I'm going to take my Mr. bottle and spray that with just plain water to get it kind of activated a little bit, just like that. And we're going to take our card panel and just lay it down straight into it. Now you may get your fingers a little inky with this, but that's okay. It comes out very easily. Remember, this is all water-based products, so it'll come out nicely and you won't have to worry about it staining for too long. Alright, now that I've done my first layer, I'm going to go ahead and dry it off with my heat tool. You'll notice my paper is warping a little bit. This is not watercolored cardstock, so it's not really meant to be used with water, and using my heat tool has kind of flattened it out a little bit, but if your paper does that, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. You can just flatten it out by either using a die cut machine or allowing it to kind of lay flat on its own. I'm going to go back in. I've misted it yet again with some more. This paper is, like I said, not used to or intended for lots of moisture, so I'm kind of pushing it beyond what it's supposed to do, and we're not getting the full effect of what I'm looking for. Maybe I should have used some watercolor cardstock, but it's not a big deal. I'll dry this off and I promise you I'll be able to pull it together. Now to finish out this panel, I'm just going to take some water and spray it into my hand and just kind of lightly drop it across to give me some nice water droplets. May even flick my fingers a little bit to get every little bit of water off. It's going to create some cool patterns and water distressed look. Once I grab my paper towel, I'm going to blot off those areas. It's going to pull some of the color up, and I'll finish drying this off and we'll move on to the next part. Alright, the first panel is drying, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next piece because I'll be die cutting both of these pieces out, and I want to do all of my die cutting all at once. So I'm moving on to my Stampers Anonymous. This is the Bird Crazy, I forgot what it was for a second, the Bird Crazy stamp set. This is one of my favorite stamp sets along with Hipster. Tim Holtz always does such a great job. So I'm going to be using my Pansy Purple ink to stamp. I think I want to stamp this Dapper Bird right here, and my rubber side on my Tim Holtz platform is currently up, so I need to get everything aligned and ready for that. I'm going to use a scrap piece of paper here and just put this right into, I'm going to put it in the corner, the magnet in the corner I should say, but I'm actually going to put the stamp towards the center because I want to use a die with that. So I want to make sure that I leave it out enough, that way I can stamp it nicely. I can't decide if I want up or however. I think right there should be pretty good. So I'm going to lower the stamp door And remember, we're using the rubber side because we're using rubber cling stamps. Now I'm going to use my Pansy ink and I'm going to ink it up. It's probably easier if I scooted it out this way, so that way I get a perfect amount of ink. Even if I didn't get the right amount of ink on it, it wouldn't be a big deal because I could just stamp it again. Which that came off a little too light for me, so I think I will go ahead and stamp it again. Much better. I could even stamp it again if I really wanted to. Next up, I'm going to be using my Simon Says Stamped stitched rectangle dies. I'm going to lay it across my panel here just to give it a little bit of interest along the edge and to trim it out so that way there's a little bit of a border whenever I put this onto my card base. I also just learned a valuable lesson. Always make sure that your magnetic plate is where it's supposed to be. I just kind of buggered up the edge here a little bit because I put it through at an odd angle, and so it kind of took that off a little bit and buggered it up a little bit. My bad. Next up, I'm going to use the die set from Sizzix for the Bird Crazy stamp set, and I'm going to find his little cutting out dies and we'll put them in and get them all cut out. Alright, I have most of everything put together. Got one more thing to add, but we'll go ahead and put the card together and add that at the very end. I have my 110-pound cardstock Nina Solar White. This is my favorite one to use for card bases because it is such a heavyweight paper. Got my paper over here. This is, I believe this is going to be 80-pound cardstock from Recollections. I also have, I think this is 80-pound cardstock, although the way it's reacting, I'm beginning to wonder if it might be a little lighter weight, maybe 60-pound, not sure. Let's go ahead and start assembling the card. I'm going to use some Scotch Dot adhesive roller on the back of this panel to attach it to our card base. Next, I think I'm going to go ahead and switch to my Tombow Extreme to adhere this layer since it is very, very warped. I want to make sure that it attaches and adheres nicely on top of my purple piece. Next, I'll adhere my bird using some of that Scotch adhesive roller. To finish out my card today, I'm going to be using a stamp set from Close to My Heart. This is D1708, Sending Smiles. I felt like there was a really great sentiment that I could add to the card. Hello, darling. I think that'll look very nice on this card. So let's go ahead and get this onto a block and get it set up ready to stamp. I have my scrap piece of paper here, and I'm going to be using VersaFine ink along with this Hello, darling stamp. Just get that all inked up nice, and I think I'll put it right about here. Alright, I'll get this all trimmed up using my paper trimmer and we'll get it ready to apply to the card. Alright, I got my piece all trimmed out and ready to go. I do want to put a fishtail in the end though. So the easy way to do a fishtail is to just cut right up the center, make a center line. That should be close to center right there. Then you're going to take and cut both sides to cut up to that center line so that it comes out even. I didn't explain that very well, but basically you're just gonna cut that center line and then cut the other two sides, and that will get you pretty close to the perfect fishtail. Just like that. Now I'm gonna take some more of the dot adhesive, just put this on the back. Could pop it up if I really wanted to, but I think it'll work nicely just flat like so. I'm going to hang it over this edge just a hair and then tack it down. There you go. There's the first card of 2018. I'm very excited for the possibilities of the ultraviolet color being the color of the year, and I'm really excited to see all the different things that will start to pop up with that color scheme. I remember when it was Rose Quartz and Serenity, both colors were the color of the year. It was very interesting to look at, even in just the crafting market alone, how many products were coming out in just those colors, or across furniture, or across clothing. It was very widespread and very cool to watch the effects of those colors as they started to ripple out throughout society. So colors play a bigger role than what you may think, and it helps sometimes to stop and pay attention to what's going on, because colors are big in design. So I think you already know that, being a card crafter yourself, you kind of have an eye for color and you kind of pick that up, or if you're a painter or anywhere in the crafting market, you kind of have an eye for color and color schemes and all that kind of stuff. So pay attention. Ultraviolet will be a lot of places coming up this year. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know that you liked my video, and then we'll hopefully share it across YouTube land. You can also subscribe if you liked today's video and want to see more. Hit that button down below that says subscribe. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and get great updates every time I post a new video or go live by clicking the bell icon. That gives you notifications for all those events. You can also get social with me with all my social media links being down in the description below. You can check me out over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the different places. I can't even remember where I'm all at. Make sure to go check those out down in the description below. And as always, if you have a question or a comment, leave it down in the comments section as well. I hope everybody has a great day and a great start to 2018. Remember guys, keep it off kilter. Bye!